nah, it kind of loses the flavor. So let me reset, do what I was gonna do. So I'll increase saturation, and then because it goes a little bit too much, I'll deboost it a little bit. So now that everything is like, look, this, I'm dealing with just saturation. So look at this. Saturation. But it does it in a way that it lowers the overall exposure as well, but it's affecting the lower ends a little bit more than the higher ends. You know what? Guys, I'm just experimenting here. So this is the process. Don't get mad at me. Let me do it this way. Let me add another parallel to this. And let me go to my curves. And then Sat versus Luma. Not Luma versus Sat, but Sat versus Luma. That means high saturation onto raise. Low saturation, you can also raise. But low saturation is the sky, so what we'll do is go down a little bit like that, and go up a little bit like that. Looking at her face on the bottom. Wow, look at that. So Sat vs Lum right there. What happened? There we go. Sat. I was trying to label it and it disappeared on me. So I know what that is. So this is all dealing with saturation. Remember, guys, once I touch the printers, I don't want to go backwards. So I'm trying to make the saturation like the way I almost want it. And the colors that I don't like will pop out. You get me? So then now I can mess with the printers, and then I'll mess with my primaries and stuff like that. You get me? So, yeah. To be honest, I might even do these primaries as a serial to this, because right now it's taking the signal from that. I'll leave it the way it is. Who texted me? Okay, guys, look at this trick. Not a trick. I like using my number pad for the printers. So let me just make sure I really like what I did here. Look at that. Wow, it already popped out that dress right there. Just that Sat vs Luma. Remember, I can darken everything a little bit later too, so. Wow, I got more hair here on the bottom left. Bottom left over there. Hopefully this camera's still recording. Okay, I gotta switch this out. That's still recording, that's still recording. This is still recording. Oh, it's just this that went out. That's weird. Yeah, whatever. Should change this. Hot swap. There we go. Fresh batteries. That one's plugged in. So this is really testing. We're at the 2 hour mark, people. 2 hour mark. Okay. Guys, if you've never seen real-time grading, this is how it's like. And it's even longer when you have multiple people in the room sometimes, because everyone has an opinion. So, this is really testing me out. This is the first time I've done this. So, recording and trying to do, because sometimes I think me speaking out loud, I tend to go a little bit slower even. But who knows? Maybe I will be doing the same thing. But it's making me more conscious of how long I take to do grades. But if you think about it, we got 37 shots, right? So 2 hours for now is what? 120 minutes divided by 37. So we're still under the 5 minutes per shot if you think about it. Because I'm trying to make decisions for everything, and then I'm gonna go shot by shot. Okay? That's how we roll. So it looks like we're taking time, we're going slow. But we're grading 37 shots. Like, if this was just one shot, I would have been done already. You get me? I'm trying to make decisions that would benefit everything, right? Going broader and then bigger, instead of going smaller and then macro. You get me? Okay, so yeah, still recording there. Awesome. Okay, guys. It's a good thing I have a Yeti, because my coffee would have been cold long time ago. Long time ago. Long time ago. Long time ago. Okay. Do I really like what this does? Yeah. It went a little bit too bright on the highlight though. It lost that little gold. What is it doing? What is it doing? Let's bring these scopes back. Yeah, you can tell that it's clipping the highlight a little bit. So where is that though? Maybe I'll do a curve instead. Ooh, it's breaking the image. You see that? That's breakage, people. If you don't know what that is what breakage looks like. So never do too much that you break your image. All they here was Sat Vs Lum, so I don't know why it's doing. because I don't want it to be completely flat. I like that little soft glow that I had before, see? Like that. Because I don't want to introduce something that I'm going to have to fix later. Whatever I introduce, I want to like every aspect of it. So, fix one problem, but I introduced another, which... on, off, on, off, on, off, on. Don't really like what it's doing. Let's go back. You're watching me cook raw chicken, people. That's better. That's the thing with this tool. The Sat Vs Lum is so sensitive, and it can break your image very easily if you're not careful. Let's just scoop it. What happens if I'm scooping? See, now I'm looking at the image and this little line right here because I want to keep that. But I don't want to mask anything. Not at this point, at least. Maybe there's gonna be there's a compromise. Subtleties. Maybe I don't need to push it so much. How's that? I go the opposite way. I'm looking at her hand, bottom left. See, on, 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 on. Nice, I like it. It almost gets rid of noise too. And it's very subtle. Look at the bottom left. So before I didn't like what it was doing to the exterior images, but the interior needs some help. But I'm just dealing with saturation, so. But this now I'm introducing Luma, so saturation versus Luma. I like it. I like it. It's very subtle now. That's much better. So now if we even do control, we do precision mode on my little Wacom. I get super granular with this this pen. Here, let me bring it back to Unity a little bit better. I kind of like what it did. This little roll off. That means high saturation, low Luma. But keep it like that. Oh, I'm not even watching the thing, so. There we go. You never know what problems introduce. I'm not seeing a difference now, but maybe down the line for a wider set of clips, it's going to introduce a lot of problems. So, current group. See, everything off. I'm looking at that, how it's like almost on this shot, almost blown out. But I didn't introduce that. I if anything, I controlled it a little bit more. But now it's not natural looking, so I gotta go back and, well, I'll do that with log. That's why my log is in parallel. So see, I'm evaluating everything I've done so far in the context of the entire group. So look at the tomatoes. Off, on, off, on. See the tomatoes? Off, on, off, on. Look at the tomatoes. Tomato time. See. Yeah. Off, on. Guys, I haven't dealt with color too much yet. In terms of like the palette, I'm doing a lot of saturation and exposure still. Kind of making decisions as I go. Look, everything we've done so far, off, on. But it's getting us closer to that something sinister might happen in this movie. It's like that ugly kind of green. But I don't want to make it too ugly though, and then I'll focus on the skin tones later too. Then what if I go selected clips, back to this, and then current group, off, off, on. See, it's very subtle, this change. So that's why it's still good to have it in the timeline level, so because it won't affect the exteriors as much as the interiors, but it will affect the interiors much more than the exteriors. So it's a all-around good thing to have on the timeline level. Now let's get to the good part. Printer lights. Okay guys, this is what I like doing. I'll leave these on here. Printer lights. Okay. You'll see what I'm pressing, but I'm on my number pad. I'm just gonna go left to right, RGB, cyan, magenta, yellow, and back and forth. And then I'll do a little offset too. So this is the part that I'm looking at everything. And I like this because when you step it, like up and then down, up, down. My printer lights are not on, so let me turn them on. There we go. Up, you see it's not gradual, you see a jump. You get me? So that's why I like using printer lights. So now let's go ham. Don't want red. What if I subtract red? Green. Add some more green. That's what I want to do. Do half step. Control Alt. Blue. Subtract blue. Ooh. Okay, cyan. Hey, this is like a nice warm kind of sinister feel, but not super green yet. I kind of like where this is going, but halfway. Either Control Alt, it's a half step. Okay, and now the magenta. Okay, I like where it's going, not too green, right there. Yellow. Quarter. No red again. Green. Quarter down. I'm looking at the top right. Blue, less blue, less blue. Half step up. Cyan. Let's go back a quarter. Half magenta down, not yellow. Now master offset. Bring it back up a little bit. So now off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on. So that's the lighting, people. So that's printers right there. So now let's add some split toning with the primaries. And then remember, I have my Luma mix set to 0, so let me put it all the way to 100. I'm just flipping my knob here all the way to the right. You can't really see anything, but Luma mix appeared right there. See, hue Luma mix. That's what I just made. So now let me do my Y lift, Y gamma, and Y gain. That's what I'm touching now. It's Y lift, Y gamma down. See, we reset. Y lift a little up. I'm looking at the bottom right. Y gain a little down. Y gamma a little up. So now if I go off and on, off, on, off, on, off, on. See, I brought back a lot just with the LGG. So I can even go down a little bit more. There we go. There we go, gamma down. Remember, the less contrast sometimes, when it's like not crushed, the more natural it feels. But to be honest, like, but we still got, you know, blacks. Off, on. So now I'm on the wheel. Let me make sure I'm in the primaries tab. I see how what I was changing, guys. So you know what I was doing? I was just changing the Y right here. See? So this is where I landed on. I lowered the gain a little bit. I raised the gamma just a tad bit, and I raised the lift a tad bit more. So now with those down here, I'm going to mess with these wheels a little bit. Okay. While keeping the Y that I like, you get me? So if you see the gain is moving, but not the Y, not the luminance. Remember, we want There's some green in these shadows, so I'm gonna. If I just do RGB reset, it resets the RGB of the gain. You know what? I forgot about the recovery tool too. While we're doing this, before we get too much into it, remember that global exposure that I had here? Let me add some shadow recovery, because I like the way that reacts. So boom, boom, boom. Just a little bit. I'm messing with my knob here. I think that's good. Highlights, maybe we can drop it down. Nah, that's fine. Oh no, oh, that's where I can bring it back. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. The light at the bottom left, that's what I'm looking at now. I like that little warm, it's not super blown out, but it's nice and warm. See, these are recovery tools. This is not strictly lift and gamma, or lift and gain. Okay. So these, I'm in the primaries. Guys, feel free to play music. Thinking about what I should do here. Just messing with the arch, these wheels. Oh yeah, that's more in the realm. Now I can do this. Okay, I need to see this react faster. So you are going to see my reference monitor get small again. Okay, I had to select those again because when I did that, it messed up my selection. So you guys can see how I'm turning my wheels. I don't like that white outline. Let's reset. Boom, boom. It's affecting everything at once. Trying to introduce some green and then compensate for it here in the midtones. So I go off this. I like what it's doing to the bottom, but I don't like what it's doing to the top. Ever so slowly moving the wheels. Disable, enable, disable, enable. Huh. Can be part of the same world. The interior and exterior. Let's go to log, people. See what we can come up with now. Keep this out. See, I kind of look at my scopes, but not really doing a thing. Because it's very misleading. See, like this is the story that's being told. The colorized waveform. See, black, 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 green. Because it takes the sum of everything. And this, because the way I initially learned how to grade, I was always afraid to clip one of the colors, right? But when you really add it together, this is what you're really getting. You get me? So you got to take it with a grain of salt. You got to know how to read your scopes. But I have been moving into the green world, you see here? Towards green. But I do want to protect my skin tones later, so I might do some hue versus hue stuff down the line. Or in a parallel. But we'll see what we do with log. We might be able to fix it here. Because this is in parallel to all this stuff. Remember, because this is it hasn't gone into these yet. So this is how we're working. We're going down the line here. So now we're in the log wheels. Look, log wheels. So now let's do it. I'm in log on my panel. And it's kind of good that I see this in a small screen. It's not too big. because then I can be tight here. And then if I do the show qualifier, see, this is how I can check the skin tones. I qualify it. I can get it to the right of the line a little better. It's pretty much on there. It's just you get me, like I'm looking where this is and where my, you see, like, it's pretty much there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Look, but his forehead almost dead on. So I don't mind it being living around there. Because we're telling a story. We're not trying to be perfect here with like proper skin tones and stuff like that. So, but you don't want it to be too off, because then it throws people off. And that doesn't help tell a story. So you want to push the boundaries, but then not distract people from the story. You want to add to the story. So it doesn't have to be like super clean, right? Like a commercial or what we're used to seeing, but it can be very creative. So let's just look at this one real quick. See how that looks. Oh, maybe I'll go back to split screen so I can see a little bit more of everything. Remember, guys, and then when I go next node, previous node, so yeah. I'm on the log right now, what I plan to do. So this is where I can kind of, without getting too deep into HDR zones, I can kind of try to fix some stuff or add some creative stuff. So let's get to it. So green. And just the log. Looking at my vector scope as well. So if I go disable, that's where it was. This is where it is now. And then the high range and low range. So I wanted to affect less, so 23% and down. And then highlights. I'm looking at the lamp over there. We can keep it kind of that gold color. But I'm introducing green. So now the mid-tone is where I can bring back some of that skin. And to be honest, I might just do something crazy here and then pull back everything in the key output. Ugh, it's kind of nasty. What if the highlight changed this direction? Ooh, I like that. If I flip the midtone to the other side of the wheel. So that's pretty. That's storytelling right there. Like I'm starting to feel like this is part of a larger story. Like this isn't this what you're looking at. It doesn't. It's not like stock footage that. Oh, look at these multicultural people, or not in this case, but look at this group of people having a cocktail. You know, like it's not like a very bland kind of thing. Like this appears more. Like this is where we started off with nothing. This is where we've ended so far. And if I mute everything, if I just do and this is our grade. So this is the color management, right? From camera space. That's like how they filmed it. That's just getting it into the color space that we're delivering, and that's it. That's all we're doing there. And this is more of like, okay, we're bringing people into that world, so it's not real life. You guys got to get over the fact that some of these colors are off, you get me? So it's not real life. Don't worry about it. So now let's do some HDR zone stuff. Select 4 more clips. Okay. See how this reacts if I do some. I just want to play around, see what happens. I'm looking at the vector scope over there. If I hold down shift, it's much faster, the reaction. Ooh, I hear my GPU going crazy. That's where. The fan is happening. Ooh, that changes almost everything. So I know that that's the sensitivity right there. If I want to get rid of some of this You know what? That can be a post clip just for the interior shots. So let me go there real quick. To kind of get rid of that huge saturation, like that orangey thing, to kind of really control that a little bit. So if I'm here in the post clip, I go to the light and I just go away from that. So before, after, before, after. So yeah, I can even do it less. I still like the character of it. It doesn't need to be super white. Just to kind of get it back a little bit. There we go. Because it was becoming kind of distracting having to look at that. But you see, like, I don't try to correct things before I start grading. I grade it, and then when you start noticing these things, because now your grade is bringing it out, then you go, you know, upstream and you fix it. But yeah. What is this? Light wheel. Let's just call that HDR light wheel. Will it react differently if I do this? Nah. Okay. I have a 1-year-old in preschool or daycare right now. So yeah. Good battery there. Okay guys, HDR zones. Let's try to get creative here. It's become, you see how like this was when it was shot, when I turned everything off? That is more of a difference, right? Boom, boom. But now when I grade it, the interiors and exteriors. So now when I grade it, it's becoming more part of the same world because it has similar concepts now. So now I can be like, oh, okay, well, they went outdoors and now they're indoors. A little, I know it's a different time of day, but it's more, you get me? But it's our own thing that we're doing. Hey, look, and surprise, surprise, her pants are still black. We haven't completely ruined everything. What if we do this? Away from green. Just the dark. No, let's go black and raise it up. Just to protect the pants a little bit more. Now I'm looking at his coat, the guy on the top right. Good precision mode going. because I like the green stuff, but I don't need it to be that. I'm controlling it just a tad bit more. There we go. I gave it room for it to go up. If I do this, really exaggerate what I'm doing so I can see exactly what's needed. I'm gonna go down. Off, on, see his jacket, kind of cleaned it up a little bit. In the top right. And this can go back to green. There we go. Because then the blacks are still black. Very subtle. There you go, even more. Really push it. There's the feathering it. Top right. Okay. So what I did, guys, was just in this node right here, HDR Zones. That was in parallel to everything that I've been working from. So before, after, so I added more green while still protecting the blacks. So the top now matches a little bit better the bottom. You get me? So sometimes the adjustments that I make, if I'm looking at both scenes together, one adjustment will bring the interior closer to the exterior, and one adjustment will bring the exterior closer to the interior. So sometimes I'm not trying to move them at the same time. I'm trying to move one closer to the other, and then you get me? But I'm paying attention to how everything is reacting. So now when I go off and on, this, just take your eyes and, like, you know, blink a couple times, you know, move it around, defocus. When you look at this real quick, you see a major difference between the bottom and the top. Interior, exterior. Now when I turn the grade on, where we have so far, whoa, we know that the bottom is the interior, but we feel like it's matching, like it's part of the same story. You get me? Like that's the thing about color. That's why I didn't want to do just one shot today, and it's taking longer than I thought it was going to take, to really show the process of how I'm developing looks for a bunch of different shots, not just one shot. Okay. See how it's even on the camera, it shows like the bottom is getting closer to the top, and the top is getting closer to the world of the bottom, right? So, or in this case, how I have my split screen set up is I have 2 exterior shots on top and 2 interior shots on the bottom. Okay, people, that's that. So now let's see how we can play in serial. With some curves. And this is the first time I'm going to be actually using curves with my new tablet. So look at that. I can have precision mode. That's the thing about precision mode on these tablets that people hate is when you do precision mode, it makes everything dark around your screen, which I didn't notice at first because I have a reference monitor, because I'm looking at the reference monitor the whole time. So I didn't notice it right away. So for a person like me that has a reference monitor, and it's coming from a deck link, by the way, like it works out perfect. You get me? Like doesn't matter if it darkens everything around the screen. That doesn't change, which is amazing. So I can keep it like this sometimes and really use the whole size of my tablet to be the curve. There we go. So let me just double check to make sure that I'm on the right node. Yes, I am. Let me save. Turn this on. Okay. Okay, guys. Look, if I just have Y, remember I have my Luma mix set to 0, so it doesn't do anything. So let me turn the Luma mix with my knob here all the way to the right. Now it does something, see? Oh, and before I continue, let me right click, and I know this will make a difference when it's on HDR mode because I can grab it a little bit more subtly. Yeah, it's not going as fast now. Okay. So now if I work on these nodes, everything's unlinked. Let me make it a little smaller so the whole thing can. Okay. I'm using the whole length of this thing. You know what? And let me open up these zones, because in case you didn't know, this right here, this 0 is middle gray. So right here. It only shows it on this graph, so you don't have to have like an 18% patch or something like that to bring in if you know that this line right here is middle gray. Oh, it disappears. Man, yeah, you kind of do have to do that then. Okay, I tried. Let's do some adjustments. So you guys can see. Don't want to hide everything. Okay. Let's be real subtle with this. So that's exposure right there. Enable. See, I'm looking at her black. Just adding to the black a little bit more. You get me? Cool thing about HDR is you can really use those highlights. See the sky right there? Top left. So let's do it this way. The rocks pop out a little bit more. Disable, enable. Disable, enable. Disable, enable. Disable, enable. Okay, let's split the difference. Keep it around 70. Okay, now let's go to red. Okay. This is the kind of split toning I like to do sometimes. Green. Yeah, let's do that. The blue. And I love doing curves with a pen now that I have one. Yeah, take a little bit of that blue out of the sky right there. It's matching. So I'll do the contrast curve. Then I go to all these right there, split tonings. And hey, maybe I can do some soft clip stuff. Low. Woo! Remember how it was lifted on that one scene that we saw? So then no, and then looking at his turtleneck. Look at that. Everything is kind of coming. They're meeting in the middle. Both of these, interior and exterior. Love it. The highlight. Let me pick a better clip for the two bottom ones. Ooh, yeah. Guys, this is how you use split screen to your advantage. Damn it. Right when I said it too. That's the one that I had. Okay. So now that I got that lamp in the shot, I can see how this soft clip on the high is gonna react. See? Now we're gonna have to wave a little bit. Ooh, just roll it. Remember, just because you're working in HDR doesn't mean that you need to go all the way to 1000. Especially in a shot like this. Like, these are interior lights. It's not sunlight. There's no, like, noonday sun right now. These are all, like, dim lights. You get me? Like, this is dusk. It's not, you know. So just because, like, when HDR first came out, people were just going crazy. Assuming that HDR is all about creating crazy highlights, but it's not. Or brighter highlights, I should say. Speaking of brighter highlights, I'm going to push it just a little bit more. Make it come out. Man, I love that. Look at those little details. Look at the shadows. I can probably lower this lift, not so much. Keep it a little bit blacker. Just lift it. Back and forth between that and that. Just looking at the skin tones. We add a little bit more blue in this area. Another node here. Add a node here to lock that. The red. Remember, I don't have a middle point on the red yet, so off, on, a little bit more character. Awesome. Okay, I think we're done with this node. Let's just call it split tones. Even though I did a little bit more than that, I did the Luma and let me try to add a DCTL to kind of swing these. I think I have one from that guy with the German name from mono nodes. Maybe do hue shift B. Yeah. Red to magenta. Yep. Red to yellow. A little bit more natural. Yellow to red. Yellow to green. Green to yellow. Green to cyan. Oh, it's completely changing that thing right now. Let's leave that alone. Cyan to green. That's the direction I want to go. Got 5 exteriors and 4 interiors. Blue to magenta. I'm looking at the vector scope here. Magenta to blue. There's not really that much magenta in the shot, to be honest. So green to cyan. Red to magenta. If I hold down Alt and drag here, it's more sensitive. I may never upload this. This is too long already. It's 3 hours. Yeah, this is not helping me. Let me try. You know what? Instead of doing that DCTL, let me just try some of these curves again. And And this time, let's do the hue versus hue. You know what? I don't need it. Sometimes if it's not helping, you may not need something. Kind of like where it ended up. Now we could do just skin stuff here. Before with the warper. Let's try that. So this is gonna be before, so we can even do it this way. I mean, that's even closer to the line than it was before. After all this, I'm thinking it's going to be way off. But if I just look at his skin right there, because remember, like, he's not everybody's skin, because they're in, some people are in more of a shadowy position, is going to land. But even his skin, look at that. It's going to land right there in the middle. Look at that. Like, that's, of course, green, because that's like a green shadow that I've been introducing. But, like, her actual skin, look, it's right there, man. Even her. Wow. I'm completely surprised that this kind of held up. Let's go here. That's the hard clip right there. So this one might actually be like way off because they're in the dark. But to be honest, how many times are you in a nightclub that a person's skin is exactly like the color should be? Because there's always some kind of weird lighting. Like, this is a cocktail party at night. There's only like 2 obvious lamps in this whole thing, and the lighting is from that incandescent kind of light. You get me? We can always swing just these people. You get me? So, like her right here. So is these 2 squares. Right here. Those 2. It's going to be more to our screen. Let's do the group. Hmm. So the horizontal direction is color, and then the vertical is luminance. So that her face before, after. See, it's a little better. It still has the character of the room, right? Because it's not perfect like D65 white lighting. Like, you know, remember, they're trying to set a mood. It's a cocktail party. So no worries. I'm just trying to make sure that, because this is a timeline. See, now it's closer to that line, but it doesn't have to be that close. Yeah, her face is completely... Let me add more vertical. Here we go, 12. See what this is. Yep. Ooh. Dun, dun. This is this one. I gotta be super sensitive with this, because it's already breaking. Remember, because they filmed something, the DP, you don't want to completely change their vision. They know what they were doing, like, but you want to bring it out more. You want their work to shine. So now you can see it better with the same mojo, right? So if I go to the pre-clip and I turn on these noise nodes, watch. Yeah, hey, not too shabby. Look at that. Clip level, there should be nothing. Yep. Post clip. HDR light wheel, that's it. And I'll put here warper. Just to bring the skins now, let's go see how it looks like when everything's, how it affects everything. Let me deselect some of these. Some of these nodes. That one I might need to do some adjustments. Clip level. Ooh, his eye. Not good. His teeth. Ugh. See, that's the kind of stuff you gotta be careful for. So let me see where that got introduced. Maybe it was already there. See, like I'm turning stuff off and on, and you can hear the HDR Sat. That's the thing that introduced it. Yeah, I probably don't need that node then. Huh. You know what? Now I'm going back upstream. I can just lower the saturation from this. Yeah, that might need a little cleanup because I like what it's doing to everything else in the image. Just I don't like the way that his eyes are not white. Let me delete this node. I might have to take a break soon because I've worked for 3.5 hours straight, non-stop. And I'll have to continue this later. And it's good to kind of rest your eyes because sometimes you just don't even know what you're doing anymore. You see, even with just the color management, his eyes are like the sclea of the eyes do have a little bit of blue. So then what happens with a grade like this is that any little bit of blue is going to grab onto it and make it pop. You get me? And to be honest, like that's natural. This is like a fluorescent yellow. Ugh. I gotta do something for the skin tones. Remember, but when you're watching something and you're brought into the world of whatever you're watching, you're brought into that world from the very, very, very beginning. You get me? It's not... So because you're brought in from the very beginning, like you're sucked into it. You don't know what's not natural and what's not. You get me? Like you're part of that. That's what a color grade is. So this doesn't have to be perfect. You get me? But it's, if you do push the envelope a little bit with skin tone, you never want to go too far. Let me do this. Let me have these selected so that when I do Control D, my grade is turned off. So too orangey. It's a hit or miss with Warper, guys. Sometimes it's too sensitive. Like, I'm already spending a lot of time on this. It might be at the point where I have to go clip level. Because this is the look. This is the look right here. Let me compound these two so I can back it off. So now if I go to the key output, ended up being, about 65. Let me round it up. Okay, guys, I need a break. So this is what I got so far. Man, if something's off, it's always the primaries. I should have known. This is what happens when you keep on working nonstop and you don't take breaks. My primaries were a little off. When I get back, I will fix it.